Okay, here we are reviewing Tangil and Jazz's Level 3 certification track. This track was laid to a length of 300 metres. It's 45 minutes age. It has to have 2 or more corners, and the tracking team has 25 minutes to complete. So the purpose of these review videos is to provide a record of the certification. So we're not just relying on the overview, which is on the right hand side there, but also a corresponding video, because if you've been around the tracking industry long enough, you know that there can be some, questionable practices, and combining both video and an overview for certifications is now the gold standard when we are talking about evidence backing up the claim that what you can do, you can do. So this track that you're seeing here is conducted the Northern Rivers of New South Wales, and the overlay, you'll notice, has a blue dot. Now that blue dot is corresponding with the path the tracking team is currently at, which gives you at home, a clearer understanding of what's happening in the track. So that's just a brief background on the actual background of this track. Now, Tangil and her dog Jazz have been coming to these workshops frequently and have been putting in a great deal of work. And as you can see here, Jazz is one of those dogs that is amazing if you can get one like this when they are just set and forget. You don't really have to do too much once the dog is at this standard. It's just put your dog on the track and there's no fuss. The dog is not overshooting corners, not going off the track, not getting distracted or caught up on anything. And as I say that, she's doing a poo. Now, if these things happen, and it's not the end of the world, it's best thing to do is just remain quiet, let the dog do its thing, and then get going as soon as she's done. And the dog gets right back on track. When I was in the dog unit, if that happened on your assessment track, though, you would be told, assessment failed, come back and try again another day. And I remember when it was coming up to your turn, you'd be walking your dog back and forth trying to get to go toilet. And sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. But as you can see here, if something like that happens on the track and you're not injured, the best thing to do is to carry on with minimal fuss. And the handler did a great job here. And it happens more often than you'd think, like especially in these environments where there's sticks and twigs and things that can get caught between your legs. And you see it was in some thick grass. It happened to me, happens to a lot of handlers. So, but if you're not injured, best thing is to try and get up. And the dog did really good. Didn't really miss a beat and just kept going. So we're coming up to the halfway point in the track, and this dog is motoring. So the track takes the dog team around 9 minutes to complete. They had 25 to do it in. So absolutely buzzing, like absolutely hammering along the track. And it is honestly a pleasure to watch a dog like this work because it's so effortless for him. As a trainer, sometimes you're following people on tracks and you're like, oh God, where are we going? What are we doing? Is this the actual track? And for the purpose of this track, it's double blind conditions as well, which means that neither myself as the assessor or the handler know where the track goes. It's totally and 100% dependent on reading a dog and following the path it's going in order to try to get a successful end to the track by locating that track layer. So looking back on the track, I do believe we've gone off the track a tiny bit coming up here, and you see the dog recognize that and start searching again for the true track. I think here the dog's now starting its own casting procedure. The handler's not having to do a hell of a lot, and that's the dog's coming back. No, the track wasn't there. It's over here, guys. Follow me. I know what I'm doing. And as the handler now, I'm looking for confirmation that a dog's working back to or is actually on the track before they move off. And I think the true track's there, just judging by the dog's indications. So you can see that we might have been 20 or so meters off the true track, and the dog's gone, no, it's definitely not the right place. Let me figure it out for you. You just sit still, sit tight, handler. I got this. So when you have a dog like this, my main advice is do everything you can to stay out of your dog's way as for long as you can, because the dog's going to do the rest for you. And that's why I always harp on about the importance of lead handling and not having any unintentional stops, because the more unintentional stops you have on the track, stopping the dog's forward momentum, the less likely it is you are going to get to the end of the track. And no track is ever going to be 100% perfect. There's going to be stops along the way, whether it's a toilet break, the dog's got wind of something else that's also interesting. It's just a part of the game. What is important, though, is how you react to that situation. Having a set standard in your mind as to what you would allow and what you would not allow, okay? Right there, we call that a perv, where the dog is fixated on one area that does not have the track layers scent on it, okay? Or it might be competing with the track layers scent. And then it's upon you as a handler to recognize the difference between your dog detailing an area of the track layers path and perving on a distracting odor, okay? Might have been some game, might have been some other tasty scent in that spot, and then you need to figure out what your dog looks like when it's doing that. For myself and my dog, I know she's perving when her tongue starts to come out and starts licking that spot. If I see that, I give her a quick, let's keep going, use some spatial pressure, and then get the dog back on track. So you want to be really careful, though, correcting your dog in those situations. You want to make sure 110% that you're not correcting the dog off the actual track. Coming up towards the last leg of the track here, you'll notice the dog's intensity starts picking up, and this should start giving the track layer a little bit of excitement that we're coming to the end of the track. 700 meters is no joke. It is by no accident that you find this track layer. If it was not for the dog, we would never find this track layer just on our own, okay? Because the path that we went was only dictated by the dog's indications along that journey. So great work to the dog team here. The next step would be for these guys to go for their level 4, which is an hour old and 1,000 meters long with multiple corners. And I don't see why not. The dog definitely can do it. It's now becomes a challenge for the handler more so than the dog at this stage, because in environments like this, the extra 15 minutes won't make any difference to the viability of that odor. All things remaining the same, and mainly talking about the weather conditions here. And the extra 300 meters, yeah, that could be a challenge. But if you've done 700, what's another 300 meters on top of that? So coming to the end, it's always great when you see a bit of color, you see the track layer hiding down, because you're like, yes, we did it. Great achievement. Doesn't happen by accident. They should be very proud. And yeah, on to the next one. Hey! Well done. Well done, Tangil. Big effort. Huge effort. Woohoo! Hey! Oh, wow.